I'm Grey Pilgrim. Well, I went out shopping today to get something. Had to get some laundry detergent. I had to get some laundry detergent. So I went over to the local Buy Mart, which is a local chain. And as long as I'm there, I'm rolling around the store, and I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll check sporting goods. And I went looking around, and they had some cool guns I was interested in. But they had one thing I bought. I didn't even know they made this. 9mm shot. As you may know, my main EDC is a Ruger LC9. This is a wonderful little gun. It's a 7-shot 9mm. It's striker fired with a sort of a Glock-like trigger. And I use an in-pocket carry, and I use a, what is that, an Uncle Mike's, I think. Yeah, it's an Uncle Mike's pocket holster. And it's, if you ever do in the pocket carry, don't just do it in the pocket. Put it in a holster in the pocket. It's just the best way to do that. But I just thought, well, heck, you know, for taking care of small pests like snakes or rodents, or two-legged pests that get in the way. I mean, if you shoot them with this, well, you might face a liability lawyer later, but at least you're not going to take their life, and you're telling them, leave me alone, in a most emphatic manner. Just interesting product. I had it for 22 and 38, but I never saw it in 9mm before. I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, if I was going to take care of pests, usually I would use a duck's foot, which was a very popular thing with sea captains back in the day. And if they weren't shooting you with one of these, you know, a cannon, and you got close enough to their ship to start boarding, well, this would repel boarders quite adequately. But if you really want to repel boarders, ooh, try this. When I saw this, I just had to get it because it is the most over-the-top flintlock that I've ever seen. Yes, it's a mortar launcher. Look at the bore on this thing. I mean, it's unbelievably huge, and it's also unbelievably heavy. I would not shoot it like this. I would put it down on the ground like this and shoot it at this angle. But it's a flintlock, and I'd say it's probably about a 30-grain charge in there. And these were originally meant to shoot little metal balls loaded full of black powder and shot. And you would put it in with the hole in the hole where you would deliver the black powder into the shot, into the cartridge, pointing down. And then when it launched, it would actually launch, lighting the thing as it went. What I would do is put what they called a fuse back then, which was a little cylinder full of black powder made out of wood, but it had a very small hole in it, so that it would fizzle through the wood and then hit the powder. And it would probably take about 5 to 20 seconds in there to launch. Carl over on In Range TV did a very interesting special on one of these once, in which he said put a rope on it, and that way you launch it, and if it goes poof and the thing doesn't come out, throw it. Hold on to the rope. That way it will blow up out there, not with you. And then you can reel it back in again and see if it's still usable. You can load it up again and try again. Well, I don't have that such a safety thing on it. Instead, I've got a leather sling because, believe me, guys, this is heavy. It's a heavy gun. This one in particular does a great job of shooting tennis balls in today's world. I'd say about 20 grains and a tennis ball would be enough to launch it about 50 yards or so. I would never put a tennis ball loaded full of black powder. That would be a terrible idea, an absolutely terrible idea. So I would never, put about 40 or 50, maybe 60 grains of black powder into a tennis ball put a fuse on it and then throw it in here with the fuse pointing down into the chamber and then launch it away. I mean, that's a terrible, I would never do such a thing. I think about it. Anyway, just one of the weird oddball guns, as it were, of history that I've picked up over the years. Ugh, God, but it is so bloody heavy. Oh, there. Another one I've got, picked this up recently. It's an interesting one in which the barrel itself unscrews, and the way you would load it is you would put the ball in there, fill this chamber full of powder, put it all back together again. You don't have to tamp it down or anything. You can just put it in that way. And it came with this tamping bar on it, but I have no idea why, because you don't really need it. Other than it makes a great handle for making sure that the thing is properly loaded in there. Then cock it, put a primer on there, or a cap, and away you go. It's a well done thing. I think all of these actually started out as kit guns of some kind, but a fellow was getting rid of them from an estate. He does auctions, and he was getting rid of them, and he decided rather than put these up for auction, he'd just put them in a batch and sell them off. My cousin saw it and picked them all up. Had me in mind. He knew that I liked weird stuff, so he picked them up for me, and I went off and paid the other fellow the money because, sure, I mean, it wasn't that much. It was just, these are dirt cheap. So, and for what they are. But I love them. I just think they're just the coolest things. Well, everybody's got to have a hobby, and mine is weird old guns. And I like weird guns, not modern guns. I mean, I carry a modern gun, but, but just to show that I'm contrary, I also carry a backup. It's a 22 mini revolver. This is a 22 Magnum. But just to be contrary. Anyway, by the way, I noticed something on my channel. Granted, I'm part of the GunTube community. I'm not somebody who's in the good graces of YouTube. YouTube does everything in their power to make sure that all of us GunTubers are blacklisted, so there's a deep hole that we all fall into. And if you talk about firearms at all, you've got to fit in their delineation. Nothing about machine guns, nothing about actually disassembling a gun or reassembling it. I mean, by the way, YouTube, this is not a gun. Per the ATF, anything made before 1898 and a replica thereof is not a gun. It's just an antique or curio and relic, or a facsimile thereof. And my mortar launcher there is that's 17th century at least. So it qualifies. So I realize when you're sitting there in your office in New York or San Francisco with a Starbucks down the road, you know nothing about this subject, and you make your rules based on that lack of knowledge, just like lawyers do and politicians. But frankly, there are a lot of us out here who are interested in this stuff. And if you're interested in my channel, be sure to subscribe and be sure to click like, because it does help the algorithm some, not much, because they hate us. My channel analytics have just gone into the outhouse of late. I've noticed. I've sort of plateaued on subscriptions and everything else. I've noticed that of all the other small-time gun tubers out there, that we just never seem to get ahead anymore. Used to be you would, but not anymore. It's quite sad. Anyway, but I just think old brass pirate guns are just a cool thing. Now, I've got a few pistols up there as well that makes you want to hoist the Jolly Roger and go back and hit the 7 Seas. Go reeving somewhere. You should read about the days of the pirates, because probably one of the greatest democratic movements ever in the history of mankind was piracy. Really was. They even elected their own captains. Anyway, just a fun thing to do. I just love older guns. I like collecting them. I like learning about them. I like, obviously, I've got all of these books are on guns all over here. They're on the history of firearms of one kind or another. And it's just a very interesting subject, in my opinion. Anyway, that's about all I got to talk about. Happy trails. Oh,